Hey guys, welcome to my world edit tutorial where I want to tell you how you can use world edit to help you build faster and build better. At least I think it will. So here you can see I've built some things. This is like stuff I've been testing world edit with, and I tried building with world edit and it's really useful, so I want to tell you guys how to use world edit to build something faster and easier. This didn't actually take me too long. If I had to do this with commands or by hand, it would take much longer. So world edit is very useful, and I'm here to show you how you can use world edit. So first of all, I started on this platform because I chose a pit world, the world where there's a void and only the void, and with a platform. All the other stuff I built is just buildings I made afterwards. There's something I built on here. So first, I need to tell you the basics, right? So world edit is something that will help you build easier and help you make your build quickly. So first, here are some things you will want to learn. So first, you can use sphere, and then after this you can pull up a website or something, search up like block ID list, which will be very helpful. So for example, I wanted a ball made of wool, so I do 35, which is the ID of white wool, and then is the radius. So I want it to be large but not too large, so I'll do 3. So now that I have the command set, I can just do this. I click enter and it will spawn in really soon. Now it will suffocate you, but as much as it may suffocate you, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. You just gotta break out of it. It's not that hard. And then you can fill it back in. It's pretty easy. You can see now I have a ball of wool. This is not hard to understand. I just typed in the ID and the radius, which you can see here, center, 1, 2, 3. That's the radius of this ball. And you can do / undo to make the thing disappear. If you didn't like it or you made a mistake, you can use that and always just undo it, which is really, really useful. And you can also, something I should also mention is that you can put H in front of the word. For example, H sphere, and then I do the same thing as I did, except there's now an H in front of the whole command, which will make it hollow. H stands for hollow, so this is why the inside is completely empty. I've given myself night vision, so when I do that, it's much easier to see inside and what I'm doing. Especially the undersides of these islands is really helpful. So it's better if you're working with hollow spheres. I suggest you get night vision. But anyway, the more useful things now. Here you can see I have a tool. This is any tool that can be including anything you get from here, the tool tab, or you can use any swords. Make sure you don't use your hands or it will be kind of weird. So you can do /BR and then type in the same command we did earlier. So now, because of the /BR, it means that it's binded. That command is now binded to this tool as a brush. So you can see wherever I right click, it will spawn in the wool ball at the spot I'm clicking on. And you can't do this in the void. It won't work, as you can see, but it will work if I click on any block. It seems I'm lagging, but it is helpful, and that is very useful. You can see that these have loaded up and it says no block in sight. It's supposed to happen when I click the void, but it's kind of lagging. But anyway, if I just undo everything, so I just undo, this will take a while if you have done many mistakes. And please note that there is a limit to how much you can undo. So if you make too many mistakes, you might have to fix it by hand or with World Edit. You can't just use undo. And the hollow spheres you can use World Edit to cut it in half. I should probably have said this first, but if you do / wand, you can get a wooden axe. You can see left click to set position 1, right click to set position 2. This will be set on the block you hit. But if you're wanting to set it mid-air, for example, in this position, exactly, you can do / pose 1, and then go to the other spot, and then do / pose 2, which will make the area. Now, this is slightly hard to visualize, but once you get used to it, it'll be really useful. So, for example, like this, you should be able to visualize that everything within this range is now selected. But these trapdoors aren't, because they aren't within the range. So that's how you can... There are mods that can help you visualize, and plugins and stuff like that. But once you get used to World Edit, it won't be that hard to visualize it. And that's what wand does. You can do / copy to copy, paste to paste, rotate to rotate. It's pretty straightforward. Here, I want to also tell you, you can do 0, like with the binding. You can do brush 0 as an air for the block ID, and use the range for how much. And this will help clear out an area. As you can see here in these clouds that I've made, these are supposed to be cloud bits, not sure if you can see that. But these, I've pasted a whole sphere, and then I removed most of it with another brush tool. I can show you directly by using things. So hold on, I'll speed this up for you while I set up all of the tools that I will need, and then I can tell you. So here's another thing you can do. You can put in multiple things at once if you wish to. So it's a useful thing to know. So for example, I want this hoe to be binded with both dirt and coarse dirt, and let's say I want more dirt than coarse dirt, like just slightly more. So what I can do is I just do sphere, and then I can do like 60%, and then I type in the ID I want, which is 3, which is the dirt ID, and then I put comma, and then I put 40%, which is how much I want there to be coarse dirt, and I put in the coarse dirt ID, which is 3, 1, and then I put in the size. Now here you can see I have some tools. These last two are not binded yet, but the thing is, for example, when I just like, hold on, let me just use a regular Minecraft command and just place a block, at my position to help me build off of. So this is something I do, but you don't have to because it's kind of like annoying to type that command every time. You can save it to your board, to your clipboard, or you can just go into chat and then press the upwards arrow key, and it'll show you the last command you've put in. So I can just place these little glass blocks anywhere I want with an instant click, which is something I found out recently. It was so painful to type those all over again. So anyway, let's say I want this to be one of those clouds. I put in this, and now I have a ball, which is great. Like, it is great, but what if I wanted it to be glass instead, and I've realized I put in quartz instead. So what do? So like, and also when you use the brushes with air, sometimes you may misclick and oh no, I've destroyed my own thing. You can undo, but the misclicks are annoying. And I can show you how you can use blocks like these, which are unusual and you don't usually see these in like regular Minecraft worlds in the overworld. This is an especially useful trick if you're building not on the void like I am. So in the overworld, all you see is grass, dirt, and gravel and stone, all that kind of stuff, and you don't see quartz block everywhere, do you? So you can do /mask and then type in the block you want it to paint and replace. So for example, now the air shall only replace quartz block. You can see it doesn't replace anything else. You can hear I'm clicking and nothing's happening. But if I click the quartz, boom, it's gone. It's really simple to use and it's really helpful. So I've set 2 tools to have different sizes to help me build when I want to do this. So I can just put in one of those and then I just remove a side that I don't like. I can also make this larger and this will do a better job of what I want it to do, which is helpful since you can change sizes. Changing sizes is really helpful, and yeah. So now that I have that, this sword is binded with the ability to spawn in glass. But I don't want to make glass, I want to turn this into glass. So I do the same thing and I mask the quartz block. Note that when I do mask, here I put in the block ID that I want it to replace. So I put 155 as in I want to replace 155, which is quartz, because that's the ID of quartz. So I click enter and now it just replaces quartz and it doesn't actually replace air. Air as in like the surrounding area, so it doesn't just pop into random things and nothing special really happens. It just kind of replaces it, which is helpful. It's like painting something. So now I have another piece of that, which is helpful. And you can do the same thing with islands, just different shapes. So for example, I want an island right there. So I can just make, when I want a really small island, I can just like put in 2 balls and then I can shape the bottom with a smaller tool, which will be helpful. And this technique can also be used for making caves, which is something you might be doing, I'm not sure, but if you're like making caves, this will be helpful to have a small tool to help you like slowly chip it into the shape you want it to be. It's useful and it's honestly quite helpful. But the tools, as small as they can get, they can't be too small. They aren't 1 block big. So you will have to do some smoothing by hand. But if you're building really small, it wouldn't be hard at all to smooth by hand. I did some smoothing by hand there, did some there. I did some on every island. And I've just found my own mistake, which will be perfect for demonstration. So here my hoe is making a dirt ball. So I can do the same mask command and mask this 1 block. Now, masking 1 block is not necessarily useful in any way, but let's say I have built an island. Now, keep in mind that this command I'm about to show you does not work from the underside of anything. So, for example, I grab a tool of my choice, and I use this tool, and I bind /br smooth to it. This will help smooth out the surfaces of things. As you can see, it's changing it, and it's making it smooth. But as you can see, it just kind of like destroys it a bit if you're not that careful and unfamiliar with it, which is why you have to be careful. And let me show you what happens when you try to use this on the underside of something. So let's say you're making a cave. The roof of the cave is like this. You're looking upwards, right? So you want to smooth this out to be a perfect triangle. It won't work. It just won't work. It won't work. All it does is shape the top, which is not what you want. But sadly, you have to shape the bottom by hand, and it only shapes the top for you, which sometimes doesn't even do that good of a job, so I don't really recommend this. But if you're making like a huge island like that, you should probably use the smooth for the tippity top surface, just as I did with that and this. These 2 islands' tops were shaped with the smooth command brush, but the bottom was kind of like shaped with a smaller brush and also hand shaped, which is kind of like annoying, but it's better than not having world edit at all. So you can see this little triangle is not smooth, so it pushes it down and smooths it out. It makes it kind of nice on the surface. You have to like click spaces that you don't really like. Let's say I think this island shape is something I really like now. I really like this shape. So I just mask this tool as well, and I can just mask the top of the island. And you can also, like, this is like really helpful, and you can replace bits you don't like by hand to like kind of fix it up, I guess. After fixing up the bits you don't like, there's a command to help you only mask the surface, but currently I've been making some larger islands, so I don't really know that command. But anyway, you can do this, and then you can mask the bottom. You can now mask the bottom of your island, and I don't actually mind the grass bits a lot, and I kind of like it, so I just leave it there. And now we have a perfect island, really quickly. And I'm going to show you how I made the next island that I am going to make, which is something I'll be doing right now in a time lapse where I'll be voicing over and won't really be that quick, so you can still see what I'm doing, and I mainly won't be moving myself, and I also can't figure out how to use the replay mod, but I won't be moving much, so you can actually see what I'm doing while I'm using the world edit. This will also help me visualize the whole thing from a farther distance. So, start the time lapse. So I started by placing a glass block in the air, and then I made this platform with lots of huge quartz, and I expanded the bottom for the mountain to sit on. And then I gave myself some night vision to see better at the bottom, and then I made these holes with my smaller air blocks, and then I fixed up the little holes by hand because it's necessary to fix it up with hand so that you can get the very smallest details. And then I used this the smallest brush, and then I also smoothed it out with the smooth brush. It doesn't really help that much, but it helps a little bit, so I'm still gonna use it. And I did some more placing with the smallest brush, and then I did some more smoothing. I placed some more balls at the bottom, and then I used the smaller brush to make the tip, and then I fixed up some by hand, some by the brush. Okay guys, now I have made my third island. Now, here's the thing. It's completely white. It's just quartz. This whole thing is just quartz. And I found the command that would be helpful. It's overlay. So first, I think it works similarly to how mask works. So I'm going to try this out. I failed. I couldn't figure it out. I don't know how to work this command. I will probably make a part 2 of a more in-depth tutorial of how to use world edit when I myself have known more and possibly most of the mod. So anyway, here you can see that I'm painting the whole mountain range. I'm leaving the cave holes to be completely empty and white. That's because I want to fill it with stone or dirt. So I finished off painting the top with some grass, and then I moved on to painting the bottom with dirt and coarse dirt, all the sides, everywhere, so the whole thing and the tunnel. Okay, so this is the finished mountain range, but it's not completely finished, since this whole thing is just plain. It's very, very plain. So as you can see, those other islands have like trees and decorations and different builds, like little sleighs over there on the snowy place, little houses and a magical tree over there, along with a butterfly, which I actually built with World Edit by basically making the body. The wings aren't that hard to make, so I just built those by hand because I don't know how to use World Edit that much to like make wings, but I do know a bit. So anyway, this is the mountain. Now, I feel like the mountain needs a tree. Custom trees are the best. Bone meal trees look boring, so because they don't have that much shape, they don't twist like that. Minecraft bone meal trees don't twist and turn the way that custom trees can. So as you can see, these trees I've made are like twisting around. This one is like kind of curvy, and that other one is really curvy and it's kind of leaning towards the other tree. This tree is kind of like straight, but it's poking in all directions and it's large. Okay, custom trees, one good thing about custom trees is they can be as big as you want. The tree itself is made of spruce planks because I thought it looked good. That tree, you can see it's kind of leaning towards the hot air balloon, the fountain, and the entire village it's kind of leaning towards this way. And there are crystals on it, which is another thing about custom trees, is you can customize however you would like and it will most likely look good. So this place needs custom trees. Regular trees won't work for this, I feel like. So I've also made layers to this place. It's kind of small, smaller than those two, but it's a mountain. I don't know why I made it this small. So, but it's easily climbable and you can easily hike to the top. But the top needs something, which is the tree I'm going to be showing you how you can quickly make. Since if you built those by hand, it's gonna take so long. And obviously, World Edit is to help you make things not take so long. So I can first just plop this down, just plop a few of these bits down. Obviously, the bottom of the tree would be larger than the tip of the tree. So I'm plopping down the base of the tree, which is supposed to be expected to be larger than the actual top of the tree. As you can see, the top there kind of is smaller than the bottom. The branches is like that. You can see the bottom of that tree is thicker than the middle of that tree. So just plop down a larger base than you would like your actual tree to be. And then you just kind of build it up while slimming it down until it is the size you want it to be. And then you can kind of make the curves and make it lean the ways you want it to. So I'm gonna make this tree kind of leaning towards this way, I guess. And if I don't like a bit, I can just destroy it and then replace it with what I think looks nice. So I can just do this, and now I have the tree shape I like. Now, that's only the basics of this tree. It's only the thick branch, the thick center. So what you can do is you can just spam this little branch, or if you're making a really, really large tree, you can make it out of a really big ball at the bottom and then use the small bits, the small spheres, to make these branches. But since my tree is not that big, it's kind of small, but it's bigger than regular Minecraft trees. So I can just spam branches with quartz, because that's the block I'm using for the base of my tree. As in what I'm going to be using as kind of like a canvas, a painting canvas sort of thing. So make sure your branches are poking in all directions to make your tree look really full, lively, and basically very much alive and healthy tree. So I usually like my trees poking upwards. I like the look of trees growing upwards, but if you want to make a sort of a willow tree kind of thing, you can make it dangle downwards. I think I'm going to do some of that, a bit more downwards than I would usually make myself. But for the sake of this, I will show you. So it's I want it to lean this way, so I'm gonna make it poke down this way more than that way. So I can so basically you stand towards the way you want it to grow, and then you just spam it towards yourself from the block that you want it to start from. And then this will help it look really natural, because since you just spammed it, it's kind of natural. It makes it just look more natural. It's slightly hard to explain, but it makes it look natural. So now you have this bald quartz tree. So now that you have achieved that, grab a random tool that does not have anything binded to it, and you can do your sphere. And here is some tricks for making a tree with World Edit and leaves. So first, pull up your ID list again and look for the leaves. And for example, I want little bit of spruce and acacia. So I want 25%. So these are percentages of the leaves I want there to be. Since usually you wouldn't want your trees to be too dense with leaves, so you would like some air in it. Make it look like it's very flowy, it's very free. Just generally make it look a lot fluffier if that's the thing you're going for. If you want your trees to be super dense and stiff, it works without the air, but I suggest you do use it. So I do 50% air because that's what I would like it to have. And then I put in the size, and bam! Now I'm equipped with something that will spawn piles of leaves, as you can see here. Now there's air bits in it, and keep in mind that I set the tick speed to 0 so that it doesn't despawn. But there's another problem now. Oh, hold on. I just forgot one thing. You better mask your entire tree first. You better mask this entire quartz tree unless you want a quartz tree, or you can just build out of the material you want it to be. But it will be easier to manage if you feel like I want to change it or something like that. Or if you're building multiple trees at once and you've already masked one and the other one you're kind of like breaking bits and replacing bits, it will be easier to just have like a base block. I suggest ones, especially ones with like these like outline pixels, such as gold, diamond, emeralds, purple, that kind of more bold blocks. So I want this to be made of jungle planks because I feel like it. So I just look for what I need, and I can just look for what I need and just put in my ID, which is 5'3", and then I put in the size. Now I have this, and I can mask the block I want it to be. So now I'm just gonna go around and paint this entire tree into jungle, into what I want it to be. Now, it doesn't matter what you use, it's completely up to you. Everything is up to you. World Edit just helps you build faster. So just go crazy on whatever you wish it to be. Now that I have a proper wooden tree, I can just click these on little branches for leaves. Now note, since there's air within these clusters, and I set it so that it only masks air. Oh wait, no, I didn't. Oops. So yeah, you have to do mask 0, which means it will mask the air, which will leave your branches perfectly intact. As you can see, the branch is still there. So it only masks the air, and since these aren't air, as you can clearly see, it's very much solid, it's hard, and it's not air. So it wouldn't mask this and it won't replace this. So I can go in with the leaves. But make sure you don't click the same cluster a few times, as I can demonstrate right here. So I have a cluster of leaves. I click the center again, and again. Now you can see it's slowly becoming a denser pile. That's because it's replacing the air within it without replacing the leaves. So if I do that, it will just create this effect where it's like super dense. So that is also a trick if you want certain areas to be denser than others, you can just click it multiple times to replace the air with more leaves, and basically half the amount of air. And you just go around and place some of these leaves. Now, I don't want my tree to be too dense, so I'm trying to click away from the other bits of leaves. So you can see with the air inside, now the tree is really fluffy. And that kind of is the effect that a lot of trees would need. Custom trees kind of like need this. So now you have a tree. But you know, the roots also need, it also needs some roots along the place, which is not hard to make. You can make this before you place the leaves or after, it doesn't matter. So I can just like go in with the quartz again. If I didn't like it, then I can just remove the quartz without removing the wood that I've already placed. So I really want it to go down like this. I want it to wrap all around the mountain. So I'm making this effectively wrap around. So now I have these roots that I really like the shape of, and I just paint these again. So now effectively I have roots. I have beautiful roots coming down this thing. And one last thing, for example, I really want some decorations in here. Now, I think for this video, I will only show you how to make like stuff that is like more natural and organic shaped and a little bit more curvy and doesn't have too much of a structure. Now, at the end of the video, I will put a card to another video of mine which will show you how you can make your structures, such as those houses over there, and how to make these like balloons and other stuff that is like more, that looks less natural and more of like man-made and structure like those houses. They're like more straight and less curvy than the trees and the landscape and the clouds. So yeah, that video will have a card at the end of this video. So, and this is about concludes what I think this video will be. This will about conclude it all. This will be about it for the entire video. So, like and subscribe if you've learned something from this and you want to see more content like this. I sometimes do playing with other people on servers and other random stuff that you may be interested in, generally just Minecraft. So I hope you will subscribe and that you like my content. Comment if you have any questions or anything. I'll see you in my next video, Bye.